Everyone, welcome back. Mike here, and welcome to another Red 88 Red Miners how-to mods. I don't know where I was going with that first part there. And today we are going to be doing the Chisel 2 mod. And I do apologize for this being not coming out as regularly as it needs to be, but I'll get into that. Why this mod is starting to get into larger mods. It's starting to take a lot longer to produce. And I was also doing some other things for my channel. So let's just get into it and not talk about it. The first item up here is the auto chisel. The auto chisel is exactly what it does. It auto chisels the blocks for you. And we'll just scroll this up to 1. And the simple recipe for this is stone slabs, 3 of them, iron ingots in a T formation, which is virtually a bottom of a anvil, and it gives you 1 auto chisel. And the way it works is if we go into Chisel and we choose a chisel right there and we click on it, we can input a chisel here. We can input our blocks here, and then we'll choose what blocks come out. And then, if we decide to do cobblestone, I'd put in some cobble up here, and I decide to choose this cobblestone right here, it would output it and over here. And these are also upgrades, which I'll get into the making of in a second. So let's continue on. The first upgrade here is a speed upgrade. Obviously what it does, it speeds up the rate of which the auto anvil works. Or auto chisel. And you need 2 iron ingots, emeralds in a 3 pyramid fashion, a piece of sugar, and 3 redstone. The recipes are going to virtually be the same across all the board, except for the sugar will be replaced with something else. For automatic upgrade, which allows things to be pushed in and out of the auto chisel, you'll replace the same recipe, just replace the sugar with the hopper. And for the stack upgrade, you replace the sugar and hopper with a crafting table. And what this does, it allows manufacture stacks at a time. Allows to manufacture stacks at a time. I do apologize. Damn, that was all of a sudden, and I couldn't mute. Next item up is a ball of moss. Simple recipe is vines in a 5 pattern or an X pattern and stick surrounding. What a ball of moss does, it allows you to make mossy cobblestone along with other stone products that have moss in them. So that's kind of cool. It gives you an ability. Next item up is the first chisel, just a normal old chisel, and it's just an iron ingot and a stick. The next chisel after that is an upgraded, is a diamond. It virtually does the same thing, except for it has a better durability. Next up is the crud. It didn't want to save. Cloud in a bottle, and it's a recipe of a hopper recipe, except for you replace the iron with glass and you replace the chest with a piece of quartz. And I will show you what this demonstrates, what it does. So we're going to go a little bit away from our our little build there, and pow, and you got clouds. So you can actually make buildings and put clouds around them and make them look kind of realistic. And the cool thing about the clouds is you can actually land in the clouds, and you can get on top of them, and they kind of sink in. There's other mods out there that add clouds into the game, and it's kind of the same purpose. Also, you can chisel the clouds out as well, and we'll get to that when we get into the blocks themselves. So I'm going to go put this back. Okay, and do that. And that. Anyways, we'll go on to the next item here. Next item here, again, okay, it's a smashing rock. Right-click to throw it, and it'll turn cobblestone to gravel, gravel into sand, etc. on impact. And the recipe for that is you'll need 1 stone pick, 1 stone shovel, and a glass bottle. Makes you 16 of them. And virtually what this does is kind of like if you have X-Nilo or anything that pulverizes stuff down, it's just this version of a pulverizer. Next item up are from the it's an add-on, which is a more chisel mod. It's also will be in the link. Everything will be in a link down below. And this is an emerald chisel. And what you do is you just take an emerald and a stick, and you make an emerald chisel. And the last one is a flux chisel. So if you have flux and power, you can put in an RF power source, which would be the flux mod, or anything that powers RF. you can put a diamond chisel and blocks of redstone. It makes a powered flux chisel, which means there's no durability. This thing will last forever until the power runs out. Then you won't be able to use it. This mod also adds blocks into the world, and you might recognize some of these blocks if you've played 1.8. This is andesite, granite, and diorite. I believe I said that correctly. Nope, diorite, granite, and andesite. Excuse me. And it adds a new item, which is a pillar, which is kind of cool, which normal Minecraft does not have. It also adds 2 more stones, marble and limestone, and we'll cover that when we get over there to the chisel section. But let's head on over. And as you can see, there's a lot of setup here. The first item, and this is, if you do not see a crafting station, it just means this will be, you just put the block in the chisel and it will output these blocks. A dirt with a chisel will input all these different types of blocks, as you can see. Cobblestone, here's a list of cobblestone. And also, if you want to see more of these blocks, there's also a map to download in the Chisel 2 mod section. You can download the map, and it will have also all the blocks as well in a more linear fashion, kind of like what I'm doing, but maybe more linear. Mossy cobblestone, kind of just like cobblestone, except for it's got moss on it. Stone actually becomes stone bricks, and stone bricks becomes, this as well. So really, stone does not become anything special. It just becomes stone bricks. So stone bricks, you get all the stone bricks. I think I made a mistake there. And all the way through, and then above are bricks. Oh, and as well as there's also snake heads. So these, some of these blocks you can join together to make one solid block, or one solid looking block, which is kind of cool. The connected textures, I should say. And bricks we have the different types of bricks. Some of them are small, some of them don't have as many as the other ones do. The difference between Chisel 1 and Chisel 2 obviously is the few things. One is the person who done it. 2, it is the availability for 1.7, and 3, there's been added more blocks, which we'll cover as well. Wood, they're all the same, just as different colors, and at the top are the bookshelves. You can just put a normal bookshelf with a chisel, and you'll get these types of outputs of books. So they have different types of books, different types of wood, all the different color woods in there as well. Down here we have sandstone, and here's the different sandstone outputs. And then the snake. Here is something different. It is a sandstone scribble. These are different sandstone scribbles, and in order to make a sandstone scribble, you have to chisel a sandstone into a smooth and flat sandstone, put it in your inventory, will output one sandstone scribble. So these are the different sandstone scribbles. It's kind of cool if you're making like a desert temple, or remaking a desert temple and making it look a lot better. Okay, we'll head on over here to the next setup. And I kind of group these into the creative grouping. Wool and clay, since there was clay, wool was up next, I believe. Wool and clay is exactly what it is. It's one wool block and one clay block of the same color will output you 2 wool and clay. So each of these blocks is virtually the same recipe, except for it corresponds with the color. So I'm not going to click on every single one of them. I actually spent the time to do it anyways, but there you go. And the only clay block is a normal clay block is not shown up. Gold, you can choose the gold blocks. Fancy gold blocks for like beacons and stuff like that, or for buildings. Iron is above that. I kind of scribble across that, and that's also an iron block. Diamond, you have diamond, and you can also see emerald above. As I said, there's also a link to kind of a better one that you can check out yourself, or just download the mod and actually have fun with it. Obsidian, as you can see, the obsidian down at the bottom, and I will explain what just happened there in a second when we get to that brick behind me, which was concrete. And you also have an obsidian snake head, which is kind of cool because it gives off particle effects. And you have the redstone, the pretty different redstone blocks that you can decorate with. And you have netherrack, which actually I'm not a fan of the netherrack because, well, some of the things kind of get gory. No, I'm not afraid of gore or anything like that. They don't make good building blocks, in my opinion. The nether brick's got a few building blocks that aren't too bad. I just actually like plain old nether brick, but if I'm going to use the nether brick, maybe for like a base or something like that, I'll use the kind of the ones that are dark and black and like that with the lava, which I think is kind of cool. But yeah, some blocks may not be to your liking, but there's also texture packs that can modify it as well. Excuse me. Pumpkins. Yes, you can chisel pumpkins now, and we have a whole list of pumpkins. And virtually you can do the same thing with a jack-o'-lantern, and it's just the same spaces down here, but lit up. And we have glowstone, which is kind of cool. You can change the look of glowstone if you're, you've got a build that has a different look for glowstone if you want. Okay, heading on down. We have the stained glass. The stained glass is any color will output these, and the panes, to make panes, you can output the same way with panes with the chisel as well. Ice. We have normal ice blocks. I actually kind of covered up. I shouldn't have done that, and then I didn't. Well, it doesn't matter. The ice blocks, all the way up. Then you have chiseled ice blocks, but also the pillars. In order to make the pillars, you'll need to make one of these chiseled ice blocks in order to make these pillars here. And then we have packed ice, and then the packed ice does the same thing. And obviously, to make pillared packed ice, you'll need to do this. Also, if you take ice blocks and you turn them into stairs, or packed ice into stairs, you'll be able to also chisel the stairs just by taking the stair itself and inputting it into the GUI for the chisel. If you place it in there, I didn't show you the GUI, but that's the GUI. You'll place your stair here or your block here, and then the blocks will imprint in here that you can make. Okay, on to the next is concrete. Concrete is a piece of gravel, furnace, charcoal, and then fuel will equal 1 block of concrete. And the thing about concrete is, if you've noticed, you move across it real fast. It increases speed of both you and animals, and you're running and building. Plus, if you have like potion effects as well. These are just the main pieces of gravel, and this is actually asphalt, which is still chiseled from gravel, but it looks like asphalt if you want to make roads. Instead of using charcoal, black clay, black clay, or obsidian, you can use asphalt to make actual roads, and you can run across it real fast. And there are actually paint lines, which is further on down. Next item up is the first new block that's built into this is the purple fantasy block. And in order to make that, you need an ringed 8 of stone and 1 gold nugget in the middle, and it will input these fantasy purple blocks down below. If you're not a fan of the purple blocks, and you might want something a little bit more white, but within the same textures, what you do is you take the purple fantasy blocks and you add a bone meal to it, and it'll make just the fantasy block as a whole, which are these here. And they got the same textures, but they're not purple. So if you're not a fan of the purple, you can just add some bone meal to them, and you can make them fantasy blocks, or really white blocks. But it is what it is. Next up is, I think, one of the newer blocks, and I kind of like it, is the Grimestone. It's, again, 8 stone and 1 piece of coal, which makes these cool blocks, which actually give off cool particle effects. I actually like these blocks. I haven't used Chisel 2 mod as a building tool yet. I'm just more covering this because there are not very many mod packs out there that are carrying Chisel 2 yet that I'm really interested in playing, but these are some cool blocks. The ideas that I can make with this kind of, there's a holy block in here, which I believe is up next. This is kind of like the opposite of the holy block. So if you can make a temple out of it, 1 second.